It has been said that Secret Invasion is Marvel's Andor. Since I love spy thrillers and Samuel L. Jackson is always a blast, I thought I'd check it out even though it is a part of the increasingly messy MCU. Does it stack up? Is it worthy of the praise that it kinda sorta seems to be getting? And most importantly, is it worth your time outside of these reviews? If the first 2 episodes are any indication, no. Absolutely not. Without further ado, let's dig in and find out why. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe. Our story begins with Agent Ross and wait, who is he again? Did I need to watch a bunch of other movies and TV shows in order to understand this one? Huh. Anyway, he meets Agent Prescott, who claims that multiple attacks are being led by a single group, the Skrulls. Ross offers to hand the information off to Nick Fury, but Prescott fights him. Ross is forced to kill the man and escape. After a chase by another shadowy figure, Ross falls off a building. As it turns out, this Ross is a Skrull and his pursuer is Talos. After a lousy AI title sequence that lasts way too long, Nick Fury lands on Earth. Maria Hill is there to greet him, and they both head into Moscow. We learn that Gravik, whoever that is, seems to be interested in using dirty weapons. Oh, and he plans to pin it all on a fringe American group? This is supremely stupid, but we'll see what comes of it soon enough. While Colonel Rhodes and the President worry about where Fury and Hill are, Nick is abducted by MI6 and meets with Sonya. We don't really get much new information outside of a bunch of stuff about how Nick Fury is old, but Nick plants a camera anyway. Outside of Moscow, Gaia leads a guy into Gravik's compound. Behind some closed doors, one of the Skrulls takes the form of a guy from Americans Against Russia. That's the aforementioned fringe group that exists in this universe for some reason. Back at the safe house, we learn that Gravik relies on a Russian expert, Proprishin, for his plot. Gaia heads over there to get the weapons, and so does our main trio. While Maria pursues Gaia, Fury and Talos get into a fight with Proprishin. He doesn't reveal anything, so let's just move on. Somehow, Talos catches up with Gaia. He tries to reason with her and wait, she's his daughter? Okay, she has a weapon. Stop her. Also, Maria doesn't like that Nick cut off contact after the blip. Okay, what does that matter? Time is of the essence. Out of the blue, Gaia meets with her dad. She tells Talos that 3 weapons will be in the square and that Gravik knows they're coming. You'd expect her to hand off the weapons to the team in order to keep everyone safe, but she just says that she'll mark them with infrared paint. The next day arrives and Gaia hands off the devices. A strange little girl is watching Nick too, but that's not important. Or is it? The bagmen are decoys and the little girl is actually Gravik. He detonates everything. Wait a minute, everyone is going to die of radiation poisoning? That seems bleak. And yes, Maria gets shot by Gravik, who disguised himself as Fury for a split second. I don't hate Colby Smulders or anything like that, but I'm not sure what I can say because she was only a bit player in these stories. That's not a good sign, is it? Maybe episode 2 will have some clarification for us. Back in 1997, Fury meets with a bunch of Skrulls in London. Apparently, the original deal was that they were supposed to protect Earth while Fury and Captain Marvel look for a new home for them. That's not too bad. In the present, Talos helps Fury escape the aftermath of the attack. Of course, the local authorities captured the patsy. That's not good. Not good at all. On the train to Poland, we get a discussion of isms for some strange reason. And then, Talos reveals that there are actually 1 million Skrulls on Earth. That sets off a giant hissy fit, and Talos leaves. We're gonna come back to this because it's very important. After Fury tries to give his condolences to Maria's mom, we get a bunch of news reports that explain that people actually think America attacked Moscow. Huh? Pretty much everyone in this news report is actually a Skrull too, but that doesn't mean that they're on Gravik's side, right? The Skrull Council meets with Gravik for some reason. They're initially mad at him for instigating attacks, but they suddenly come around to the idea that Earth should be taken over. Why? Oh. Pretty much everyone agrees to his plan to cause the apocalypse, except for the one Indian Skrull who is allowed to leave. What in the world are these people thinking? Better yet, what are the writers smoking? Don't think about it, the Skrulls are building some kind of machine. Colonel Rhodes meets with the international community. They seem to be butthurt about the attack, but I guess it never occurred to anyone that they could just use nuclear fingerprinting. That would show everyone that the material came from Russia. Then again, that would make the plot completely pointless, so I guess you're just not supposed to think about that. Rhodes meets with Fury and relays the same information that we already know. It turns out that Rhodey knew about the Skrulls all along, but he thinks that an invasion is impossible for some reason. Also, they can't bring in the Avengers because they'll be turned. Wait, if the Skrulls can steal powers, why didn't they just do that in the first place? If they can't, why wouldn't they bring in the Avengers? Oh right, the show would be over. And then, Fury pulls the Help a Brother Out card because Alexander Pierce, the leader of Hydra, was a mediocre white guy? You were the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he appointed you. What are you talking about? Anyway, don't think about it, we need to move on. Rhodes fires Fury, which is pretty rightful considering the screw-up in Moscow. Don Cheadle is great here, even though I can guarantee that they'll pull a Skrull twist out of their butts later on. Anywho, Sonya interrogates the American who was caught at the attack. She easily figures out that he's a Skrull and injects him with some very painful truth serum. I have to say that I actually really like Olivia Colman's performance here. Who knew that a vicious nice girl could be a thing? Then again, the captive's comrades have a man on the inside. It's a perfectly convenient setup for a rescue. The Skrull says that Gravik's machine might be an augmentation device and that the scientist in charge is named Dalden, but it's too late to get anything more. The Skrulls are here. I have to say that the resulting gunfight is pretty awesome. As the Russians are wasted, Sonya makes her escape and the Skrull is rescued. However, the bad guy's safe house is compromised, so the Skrull captive has to be taken back, away toward the woodshed, and... A little while later, Fury visits a Skrull woman who morphs into a black lady, and wait, he's married to her? How can he not detect them, and what was with all of that talk about intolerance? So, that's Secret Invasion episodes 1 and 2, and I don't get it. The actors do give good performances, but this script is a mess. Sure, most of this could be a problem of setup, but things just happen and motives are all over the map. I mean, if the writers forgot about stuff that they wrote about earlier in the episode, that's a bad sign of things to come. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? Thank you so much for watching. There's more where that came from, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Sharing is caring as well, and I want to thank you for all of those. If you'd like to support the channel with money, you can check out the links in the description. Keep on rolling, and I'll see you next time.